important thing is that each of the letters meanings that we've determined for the names of the letters is completely consistent with the traditional teaching about the name of the letter. When we say that the letter Pei, for instance, means mouth, and that's what the Hebrew tradition says it means, we can look on our chart and we see that the letter Pei on the chart means to swallow or to engulf a volume. That's the function of our mouth. It swallows or engulfs a volume, the letter Pei. When we say the letter Samach, Samach literally means to support. Well, if we look at our chart, we find that Samach is related to the golden mean unfurlment principle, which is a fundamental support for this reality. It's an unfurlment principle. We could go through the whole alphabet that way, and the charts are there, and you can see them. What I'm going to show you now is something most extraordinary and really interesting, I think, and that is the sequence of hand gestures that give you the letters of the alphabet in alphabetical order, with each gesture, the natural meaning of the gesture being the meaning of the letter that enables you to see that letter. The gesture enables you to see the letter when you're looking at it. I'll go through that again. I think I got a little confused in saying it, but we'll do it. And we're going to find that those gestures and those meanings are consistent with the chart and with the traditional meaning. And the motion I'm going to show you, and this is very important, this is not to be taken as a final determining path that I'm going to show you. There could definitely be changes and corrections, modifications and improvements. It should be a smooth, dynamic flow. Also, I'm only going to show you the letters in alphabetical order, Aleph to Beit to Gimel to Dalet to Hey to Vav, etc. If you're reading a text, you have to go between any letter and any other letter. And that's not the same as alphabetical order. That's why we believe in Sefer Yetzirah, the book of formation, they give a multiplication table for all the letters. And they take the 22-letter alphabet, they skip the letters that connect to themselves, and they go Aleph times Beit, Aleph times Gimel, Aleph with Dalet, Aleph with Hey, Beit with Aleph, Beit with Gimel, etc. The whole multiplication table. You multiply it out, you get 231 possibilities, not counting reversals. We would have to master all of those 231 transitions before we could actually read the text. That's the next step. Let me get the path of unfurlment on the record for you so you can see it and start to play with it. I'm going to go through it relatively continuously, and then I'm going to go through it and tell you the names and the meanings of the letters, and then maybe we'll focus in on the individual letters and talk about them a little bit also. Remember, these are provisional. I can see the letter that I'm telling you about in my right hand as a shadow of the model hand. If you were to look through my left hand into my eyes, you would see the same letter in my left hand. Now, we'll show that to the camera in a few examples later on. Let's just do it. Okay, here are the hands in my hand. The left hand is an older model. This is the one we had on the Matrix of Meaning tape, and it's only a finger width model. The right hand is a 60-degree increment. If it were fully a third of the circle, it would be 120 degrees. 60 degrees is a lot easier to make, and you can see all you need to see on it. As we try the other thicknesses, the other widths of hands, we may learn some additional modifications to the system. The letters we're going to see are the Rashi Nachmanides letters, which are on the charts in the Meru material. We're only going to do the 22-letter alphabet now. In the past, we've attempted to generate the 27 this way. I've come to believe that it's the 22-letter alphabet that's the key for this system now. And so we're going to go through the 22 letters and leave the finals for another time. The finals appear on the hypersphere in the idealized 27-letter set. This is the linear 22-letter set mapped onto the alphabet. Mapped onto the body, sorry. Okay, here, let's do it. I can see now an Aleph, and I'm going to unfurl it and say the letter name as I do it. Now I'm looking down at towards my waist, and in my hand I see the K shape, the Rashi Nachmanides Aleph. Now if I do this motion, I get Beit. Gimel, Dalet, Hey, Vav, Zayin, Chet, Tet, Yud, Chof, Lamed, Mem, Nun, Samech, Ayin, Pei, Tzadi, Kuf, Resh, Shin, Tav. I'm going to go through it again. Aleph, Beit, Gimel, Dalet, Hey, Vav, Zayin, Chet, Tet, Yud, Chuf, Lamed, Mem, Nun, Samech, Ayin, Pei, Tzadi, Kuf, Resh, Shin, Tav. And you'll notice I did it with my eyes closed. It's actually easier to do with your eyes closed. And once you've done it for a while, there's no need to even have the model. These are not to be taken as some sort of an idol that is a special thing. This is simply an aid to doing the exercise, which is itself nothing but an aid to doing the meditation. We're not attempting to put forward some sort of new pagan idol of the sacred hand or something. This is definitely not the idea here. Let me do it again, and this time I'll do it more slowly, and I'll tell you about each letter. And perhaps we'll be able to come in on some of them, because I'll do it slowly enough. The first letter, Aleph, maybe I can hold it up so the camera can see it. If I hold this square to the screen, now you can't look down from my eyes, so I'll have to hold it a special angle for you. But I think you'll find that if you just clip off the top here, that looks like the K-shaped Aleph. And again, you'll find that in the Shadowgram book. I think you'll see the K. Well, that's what I'm seeing when I look down at my waist in my right hand. And Aleph is all, the whole thing. So I assume this is just pointing at the whole body somehow. Then Beit means to break open, to birth. And so I've got my knees bending, baruch. My knees are bent, and my hands are open as if I'm birthing. And if you were to look in my left hand, you would be able, if we hold it just so, and again I'll have to tip it some for the camera, if I can do it. No, I'm losing it here. Let's take the time to do it though. I want to show you the Rashi Nachmanides Beit, and you should be able to see it there. If you look at the table, you'll see that looks very much like the Rashi Nachmanides Beit shape. Okay. So we've got Aleph, all, Beit, birthing, breaking open, first distinction. Gimel is action, Gal is a cycle. So we want to flip things over in a kind of rotational cycle. And now I can see a Gimel in my right hand, and I think you'll be able to see fairly easily a Gimel in my left hand here. Here's our Gimel. Now I'm going to pull apart and face down, and I've got Dalet, and Dalet means to pour down, and I've got limp wrists here, and in my right hand I see a Dalet. Now Hey means to frame, is a doorway, is an opening, and I'm going to rotate, look through the side of my head, and I'm going to see the letter Hey in my right hand outside here. Now I can't really, if I turn my head I'll see the Hey, but I don't have to do that because of the way my eyes work, the way my hands work. I can see in my mind's eye through my head. And there you can see on the camera the letter Hey that I'd be seeing. Now Vav means a pin, and a connect, a string of vertebrae, a golden mean unfurlment. The Vav is going to be this part of the Hey, but right over my spine, behind my head. And literally I can see this through the back of my head. I see the shape Vav in my thumbs pointing down below my head. Now Zayin, the next letter, means to project. So I come over my head and I make a projective motion. And if the camera will go to my left hand, you will see the Rashi Nachmanides Zayin rather clearly done there. Just forget about my fingers and just look under my thumb part. It's this part here. And I think you can, if I hold it just so, you'll see it. There it is. It's this part here. And that's my Zayin, projecting forward. Zayin, projectiveness, off the matrix chart. That's the meaning. Zayin is a grain, to go on, to grow, to gain. Chet means to encircle or to surround. So I come down to my waist, I pull my arms out fairly wide, and I look down in my hand, and there's the Chet. There is the limit of the fenced field. Now that's Chet. Then I come around to Tet. Tet is to hold the whole thing, the ball, the completeness. Then I come up to Yud, which is hard to identify any other way. It could be almost any part of it. Then Chaf in my palms, and here are my palms facing me, my palms. And Lamed, Lamed is wonderful. Lamed is a flame being reflected right back into my eyes. Lamed means two. Lamed means learning. And if I turn this so you can see it, you can see that here is the flame of consciousness, here is the reflector, and it's being reflected directly into my eyes. So lamed means into me.